On February 24th, 2020, Sarah Boone and her boyfriend, George Torres, were spending an evening together at Sarah's home. The couple had a bit of a tumultuous past. Both had been arrested on domestic violence charges, but they always seemed to get back together. On this night, the two were drinking, but what happened next is almost inexplicable. George got inside of a suitcase that was then zipped shut. Why and exactly how he got into the suitcase is not 100% clear. But what is clear is that at one point, he wanted to get out. Pleaded with Sarah to open the suitcase, but she refused. Instead, she turned on the video camera on her phone and started to record as George begged for his life. Then, the following morning, she eventually called 911. She said she and George were playing hide and seek, and George ended up in the suitcase. When police responded, they found George dead. Sarah has been charged with second-degree murder now, and the question is, what happened inside that apartment, and why was George in that suitcase? I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. Yes, I've got the red tie on. We've got a couple of verdicts we're going to get to this hour. A big day here at Court TV, your front row seat to justice. But what I want to do right now is talk about the next big trial on this network. It's the Suitcase murder trial. This story, this case, this defendant has a long history here at Court TV. We started covering this story when it happened, pre-COVID, like way back when. And we've been following it ever since. I would say 6 or 7 times we've been ramping up, getting ready to cover the trial, and then something happened. Usually an attorney leaving the case. Right now it's different. Right now it's different. The judge is absolutely set on trying this case. She has an attorney who has volunteered his time to represent her. Saw the story on Court TV and came from out of town down in Florida to represent Sarah Boone. So this thing, for the first time, I really, really, really believe this trial is going to happen. And it's just around the corner, less than 2 weeks away. But let's see, right? Anything can happen, obviously, in our system of justice. Things do happen, hurricanes happen. But for all the time that we've been covering and tracking the story, this is the first time I'm locked in and building up and ramping up, getting ready for this trial. Now, let's begin with the victim, George Torres. He died inside of a suitcase. That was not a pleasant death. It was not an instantaneous death. He was begging, he was pleading for his life. The jury will see and hear that. You've seen it here in our coverage of this story on the show. And that's because Sarah Boone recorded it. She recorded about 2 minutes and change of video of George Torres inside the suitcase begging for his life, and she is literally taunting him. It's video that the day after, it seemed like she didn't even remember making or recording, but she did. And obviously it'll be the most important piece of evidence in all of this, but you're gonna hear from the medical examiner. You're gonna hear from a lot of witnesses trying to establish the history of this couple and then specifically what happened that night. But it always comes back to this. He died in the suitcase, she recorded it, he's begging for his life, and she does nothing to get him out of the suitcase. So what's her defense? We've been saying that from the beginning. What's her defense gonna be? Initially, I was wondering, is it about how he got into the suitcase? What were the circumstances there? But things are becoming a lot clearer now that she has her 9th attorney who is preparing for this trial, was on Court TV with me last night on Vinny Politan Investigates. So we have a really good idea where they're going, what that side of the case will look like. And yeah, they're fighting the charges. She's not throwing in the towel. She's not admitting to murder in this case. That's not happening. Let me bring in, because we had a big day in court today, Court TV digital content producer Lauren Silver is with us. Big day today. All these hearings that happened just before the trial take on incredible significance in the way The jury's going to hear and see the evidence in the case. So what's the big story today from this hearing?
Well, today was designed to be sort of a calendar hearing, getting all the last minute things set before this goes to trial. And this is going to trial on October 7th. Judge Kranick made that very clear. What wasn't clear was the rest of the hearing. It was more than a little chaotic in the courtroom. As you mentioned, this started pre-COVID. Well, everyone who has survived COVID is familiar with remote learning and remote problems. And that is exactly what happened in the courtroom. Her attorney was remote. He was unable to hear the judge, was just yelling judge in the courtroom. The judge couldn't communicate, and so on, back and forth, all while there are still motions on the table that need to be decided.
And you talk about the chaos, right? You had a hurricane rolling through. Places are flooded. You have an attorney from out of town. You've got a lot of issues here. Let's show folks at home some of the technical difficulties and chaos today.
I am not even sure what he is going to do.
Judge, hang on. Let Mr. J finish his point, sir.
I'm not sure if he's going to be testifying to battered.
Judge. Hello. Mr. Owens, we can hear you loud and clear, sir. Judge. Yes, sir. We can hear you. Judge. Mr. Owens, I can hear you. Judge. Sir, I can hear you loud and clear, sir. Judge Kranick.
I see exactly what you mean. And it's a technical difficulty, right? It seems obvious that he couldn't hear what was happening inside the courtroom today. And he's just trying to get in there and let them know. So what was
icing on the cake of a chaotic case?
Yeah,
is what I would say.
So what was on the table in terms of what the motions that were being made today?
Right. So no motions were ultimately decided today. The motions are going to require a more extensive hearing. And the major motion on the table right now is a motion to suppress. James Owens, Sarah Boone wants to suppress the more than 2-hour interrogation that she did at Orange County Sheriff's Office. And in that, she repeatedly says this was a mistake. I don't know what happened. Mistake. We were playing a game. And, everything was friendly, everything was fun, which is very contrary to the battered spouse defense, which is rooted in self-defense.
Right. And you're alleging that you're a victim of abuse. You're alleging that you're acting in self-defense in the moment. And a lot of the statements she made didn't seem to be consistent with that. So they're attempting to have this suppressed, kept out in front of the jury. Let's take a listen to the interrogation the moment where she is read part of her Miranda rights.
Just like we did yesterday. Remember I read you the rights? Your rights? Yeah, so it's the exact same thing, but since I'm asking you follow-up questions, I need to read them to you, okay? Sure. All right, so you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say may be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning without charge. If you cannot afford a lawyer and want one can be provided for you before questioning without charge. Has anyone threatened you or promised you anything to get you to talk to me?
No.
And do you understand what I just read you?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
So I guess there the last line is sort of left out of their reading of the Miranda rights. And this is the second time they're doing it because apparently they did it the day before as well.
Exactly. So they are pointing to this Miranda card, and James Owens wants the detectives to testify. He wants the Miranda card. He wants the procedures, all of it on record, because he is maintaining that all of these should be suppressed based on the Miranda card not being read properly. Now, he is also saying he's going to file a second motion that will cover further interrogations on body cam. And the judge is getting him till 11:59 tonight to file those. And as of 10 minutes ago, those still had not been filed.
He's working hard. I mean, he just took the case, a case that 8 other attorneys walked away from because of difficulties with Sarah Boone. But he's all in. He is working hard, James Owens is. Let's hope that Sarah Boone appreciates what he's doing. So he's got a deadline for an additional motion. The judge, as you said, not wavering any of these deadlines, and it's all because this is all going to happen October 7th. Okay. There was something else that came up today that I think a lot of folks at home will be interested in, which was a motion concerning Sarah Boone's hair and makeup.
Yes, well, her clothing had already come up as an issue, and the judge had already agreed that she could wear civilian clothing. There was the question of the shock cuff that she could wear if she was going to be representing herself. So that is taken care of. But now this motion is requesting that she gets professional hairstyling and makeup. James Owens has likened it to male defendants getting a haircut or a shave to look presentable. But yeah, she wants professional hairstyling and makeup for her trial, in addition to civilian clothes. And at the hearing today, Owens did say that he was planning to have someone take her measurements to get her clothes.
Wow. And you know what? That's probably going to come out of Owens' pocket. Like, he's probably going to get her the clothes that she needs. I mean, this attorney going above and beyond. Again, hopefully Sarah Boone is appreciating what he's doing. But professional hair and makeup, that's the first time I've heard that. Like, I've heard, you know, can we have a little bit of makeup? Because you really don't get it when you're in jail waiting for your trial. But professional, like they want the Court TV incredible makeup artist to fly down for the trial. That's insane. Let's take a listen to the prosecutor talking about this.
I believe the shackles portion of the motion has been a ship that has come through here and sailed. And I believe all the clothing issues have been addressed by the court. The only thing that seemed to be new was the hair and makeup. And I did not see any authority cited that specifically said that was permissible. But we don't really have a dog in the fight. If court admin and security staff, however it works, is going to permit this to perhaps, as far as I know, be the first person to ever have that done in this courthouse. That's between them.
Setting a new precedent, perhaps. What's interesting, I mean, I can't criticize her because it's in my contract for, you know, clothing, hair, and makeup. So I really would be hypocritical if I went after Sarah Boone on this. And she has a lot more at stake than just hosting a show. It's the rest of her life. But still, this is sort of unprecedented. How would you describe her behavior today?
She seemed very happy. There was a lot of smiling, a lot of smirking. It looked like she mouthed, "I love you" at one point.
To who? Hopefully her lawyer.
Sure. And James Owens did note at the beginning that he couldn't see her because, of course, he was remote and had the judge move the camera so that he could have eyes on her during the hearing.
Wow. This is something. This is something. Now, so there's going to be another pretrial hearing before we get to October 7th?
Yes, and there's going to be testimony. This is going to be on the motion to suppress, and James Owens makes it clear that he wants to hear from all of the detectives who are involved. So we're going to expect to hear from them. Okay,
a testimonial thing. The judge will have to decide about hair and makeup. You know what? I wonder if, like, day one she gets one hair person and then she fires them, and then we bring in a second hair person, then a third. We'll see how it all develops here. All right, so lock it in. We are guaranteeing as much as we can for the folks at home who've been waiting for this trial, October 7th, right here on your front row seat to justice. But before that, we'll have another pretrial hearing as they get ready for this. And maybe they'll try out some makeup artists for the pretrial hearing. It's Sarah Boone, folks, right? Lauren Silver, Court TV digital content producer. You can read all of her stuff on courttv.com. Amazing work that she does day in and day out. Thanks so much, Lauren.